you for tuning in to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast, where each week we will be covering today's real estate news, tips, tricks, and trends in the Kansas City real estate market. Hosted by the Brasel Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Heritage, out of Blue Springs, Missouri. And here's today's host.
Hi, this is Trisha Digert, team leader for the Brasel Real Estate Group here at RE/MAX Heritage, and I am your host today for the Brasel broadcast. So today we have Deric from Homestead Inspections on the spot, or the hot seat, whichever one we want to call it today. I like it. Someone else is on the hot seat, not me, so that's always good.
I'm ready for it.
So we're going to start today with our little what the heck topic, and today we're going to talk about radon. So I thought Deric's the perfect one to give us a little bit, because I have buyers who are like, what is radon, and is it really that important, and why should we test for it? It adds this much money to our inspection and all that good stuff. So tell us a little bit about radon.
Yeah, sure. So radon is a radioactive gas that comes up out of the ground and has been known to lead to lung cancer. The EPA has all the research and all the studies on it, so we always refer people to the EPA's website because there's a lot of details that go into it.
Right.
And some of those details aren't necessarily a need-to-know thing for a real estate transaction, but if you're wanting just more information about, how it happens and how it occurs, that's where I would direct everybody to, is the EPA's website. The basics is, when it comes up out of the ground, you have a level that's able to be read in the house. So what we do for a real estate transaction is we set a machine in the basement or wherever the lowest possible living space is, which is generally the basement of the house. And then it sits for 48 hours and takes a reading. So the EPA tells us that the action level, so what they consider to be a higher level, is 4.0 or higher. And then anything under 4.0, they consider to be not necessarily safe, but a livable level.
Right.
So once the machine is taken back, we hook it up to our computer and we get the readings from it. Then if it's 4.0, then we recommend mitigation because the EPA recommends mitigation. It's really kind of a tough topic because you can look at other countries and their levels of acceptability are higher. They might be lower than ours. So people will ask, well, I heard in Europe it's this, and I heard it's over here it's that.
Right.
The only thing we can do as a home inspector is go off the EPA standards because that's what they give us. And it's a prolonged exposure situation. So, we've done inspections where we'll set the radon machine early, and then so when we do the inspection, we can pick it up that day. And I might get the machine, and we might be able to do a field reading and see that it's a little bit high.
Right.
And then people are kind of nervous to go in the basement. That's not the situation. It's years of being down there for several hours a day type of thing. So we always recommend it, highly recommend it if it's a basement you're going to use a lot, if there's bedrooms down there, if it has a living room, stuff like that. If you live in an older house that maybe just has a stone foundation basement and all you're doing is laundry down there, then it's kind of up to you. You definitely could find high radon and you might want to get it mitigated, but your prolonged exposure is going to be way limited because you're not down there very much.
Okay. Well, that's good information.
Mm-hmm.
So our next topic is going to be buyers and our buyer bites. So, Deric, when you're consulting with buyers, what inspections do you recommend and why?
Okay. So obviously your whole house inspection is going to be your first and foremost. The home inspector should be looking over all of your exterior wall coverings, the roof, the foundation as much as they can see on the outside. They're looking over the grounds, the deck, the driveway, stuff like that, giving you that information on the outside. Inside, same thing, structural, water, gas, electric, then all of their components. So your whole house is covering majority of the structure of the house that they can visibly see. So the whole house inspection is number one. Termite would be number two. In a real estate transaction, termite's really important to have done because at that time you can see if there has been treatment or hasn't been treatment, and if there's termites, either past evidence of it or current termites. So the termite inspection. And then the two that we see is kind of optional but very popular are the radon test and a sewer camera. Again, every house is a little bit situational. If you've got a house that's just a couple of years old, you may not need a sewer camera. Maybe the trees in the front yard are little saplings and you just don't really have a whole lot going on to to warrant an issue up in the front yard where the sewer line goes out. Doesn't mean it can't be, but it's not as common. But if your house is built 1980 or before, you probably still have clay tile or cast iron tile or drain lines going underground. You have a much higher chance of having mature trees in the front yard. So there's more opportunity for issues. So the sewer camera is something we recommend. And then, again, situational for the radon. Do you have a basement that's finished? Is it something that's on a slab construction? Is there no basement? And we can still find radon on a slab construction. It's just not as likely. So those would be my main inspections. And then you can always have a mold test done if there's some kind of chronic moisture, or if you've had maybe a leaky roof issue or something. But as a company, we always want to find out why you want to have that mold test. We don't want to waste people's money.
Right. And sometimes I know when I put contracts in, I try to give us a little even extra more than the 10 days. I try to give us like 14 days for inspections, because I think, if there's a potential structural thing, I try to get the structural engineer out there first.
For sure.
And then we're either a yes or no there, and then try to get the general. And then, even if you as the general inspector see a little bit of potential for some mold, then we still have time to get that next thing done, so that we're not just spending all the buyer's money right up front, and we're kind of doing it in an order and kind of have a method to our madness.
Yeah, and that's why I encourage anybody, as soon as you sign the contract and the contract is signed, start scheduling your inspection. Because your inspector might be a couple days out just with their schedule. And then, so if that eats up a day or two, then we're, getting into day 3 and 4. And like you said, if we do need a mold test, if we take a swab or an air sample, we have to send that off to a lab to have that test ran. And that might take 3 days. And then same with the roof. We've had a lot of storms this summer and springtime where we brought in a lot of hail. So we're seeing a lot of roofs either being replaced or that might need to have someone come take a look at it. How long does it take to get our roofer to come out there? And if you know that you have seen some significant issues before the home inspection, you might see if you can have that done ahead of time. If you know that there's a pretty significant crack or movement in the foundation, have that foundation guy come out first. Because if it's past what you want to handle, or the seller doesn't want to handle it, there's no sense in having the home inspector come out and wasting your time and money on that.
Right.
You can have that stuff kind of squared away, and then when I show up, we know we're in good shape and we're ready to roll.
Right. So after an inspection, buyers, you give them those great reports that you guys have, and your job is to look at every single thing and give them a full report on that house. So tell us the things that buyers should really be focused about in regards to the actual purchase of the house. What are the things that they should focus on in your report versus the things that they should just kind of make a note of and say, okay, these are things that we need to try to take care of? Because, I had one recently gave me like a list of 60 things, and I'm like, whoa, wait, we've already talked about this,
It's kind of tough because every situation is a little bit different. But primarily, you want to look at big ticket items and safety issues. If there's things on the list that you can handle, whether a lot of times we'll come across a leak underneath the sink, and if you have some kind of ability to do some plumbing work, that might not be a hard thing for you to fix. So for me, if I'm looking at it and I say, well, I can replace those pieces of plastic under there because I know there's a kit at my local box store I can buy, then I might be okay and comfortable with that. But I might want to have the temperature pressure relief valve on the hot water heater replaced, because I don't really know how to do that. As a buyer, you have to evaluate what your skills and abilities are. But you're putting big ticket items and then safety issues, and then things that might cause more damage. And that's kind of where the leak comes in. So I always kind of tell people to look at it in priority order. What are things that you cannot live without? If the roof needs to be replaced, that's pretty high on the list.
Yeah, that's pretty high on the list.
Pretty high on the list. We'll show up to a house and we're talking with the buyer, and the handrail's loose on the front porch, and they say, "Oh, we better get that fixed. That handrail, that someone might fall." Well, then we get inside and the hot water heater doesn't work.
Right.
That handrail goes down towards the bottom of the list now. That hot water heater makes its way up.
Yeah, because that hot water heater is going to cost you more than getting a handyman to do the handrail. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So I always tell people, wait till everything is done. Wait till we're all done with our inspection, and then we'll filter it out from there. Because if you're looking at every single problem, You never know what's going to outweigh another problem further on into the inspection. That leak might be a big deal, but underneath the sink I can fix, but the leaky window I don't know what to do with. So you kind of have to evaluate it in that kind of a sense.
Right. And homes are almost like a living, breathing thing.
Absolutely.
They deteriorate. They're not going to be perfect.
Right.
And so, you always have to weigh out what's going to be the most important, and what do you think the seller's actually going to do, and where your investment is in that house.
Yeah. So. And when my wife and I bought our house, we had negotiated on price up front and a little bit of the closing cost type of thing. And when we did our inspection and brought our resolution back, they said they weren't going to fix anything. So it was our job at that point to decide, do we want the house with no fixes, or do we want to walk?
Right.
And we decided we liked the house enough that we'll take it the way it is. We'd already negotiated some prices out, so some of that movement had already been taken up, and we were happy with that.
Yeah, and that's where it comes down to is sorting through those things and deciding, are we going to be happy with this purchase, or do we need to move on and do something else? So now we're going to do a little bit about seller sound off and things in regards to inspections and sellers. So one thing that I always, when I'm working on the buyer's side, I love to see maintenance records.
Right.
I love to see that furnace have those maintenance records on there. So tell me, how important do you think, from a home inspector's viewpoint, are those maintenance records? If you're a homeowner, how important is it to be doing those things and try and keep that record? Yeah,
it's pretty important. For the home inspector, like for myself, sometimes it holds a little bit of weight, but not as much weight as it holds for your potential buyer. If they can see that you've been diligent on servicing and maintaining things, that makes them feel more comfortable.
Right.
Fireplaces. As a home inspector, we're limited on how much we can inspect on a fireplace. So if I know as the buyer that fireplace was serviced last year and someone came out and cleaned it and took care of it, then that puts a little bit of peace of mind on my side as the buyer. The home inspector will still have to say limited visibility because we can't see up in there. The more records you can have, the better off you are, and the more accurate they are. When you fill out the seller's disclosure and it says unknown, 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 it makes people feel a little bit uncomfortable sometimes of, are they trying to hide something? Do they really not know this? Or, if you've covered something with a crack in the bathtub with a bath mat, the next thing they say is, what else are they trying to hide from us?
Right.
And it may not be intentional. Maybe that's just how it's been, and you don't use that bathroom anymore, and your family knows not to use it. But if you disclose that, and you have, even though that's not a maintenance record, you say, hey, well, that was something we had, we just haven't fixed it. That makes people feel more comfortable, even though it's a defect, even though it's a problem.
Right.
They know about it. So if you had your insurance company come out and take a look at your roof, 3 months ago because of some hail, let people know that. That's good information.
Yeah, the more honest information you have, the better.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
Definitely puts people's minds at ease.
For sure.
Because I know I was in a house the other day where a seller had put just a big piece of carpet down in the basement, and the first thing my buyer said, what are they hiding?
Yep.
What are they hiding? So yeah, always think about that as sellers. And if you can keep your HVAC serviced, that's always a good thing. Buyers like to see those records. It just makes them feel like, hey, if they're going to take the time to take care of that, then they're going to take the time to be taking care of the rest of the property.
Absolutely.
So those I think are always good things. So what would you tell a homeowner are the 3 most important things to keep up on their home? If they could only really keep up with 3 things, what 3 things would you say are definites?
I would say your HVAC is number 1. Around here we can't really make it through winter, without a good furnace. Air conditioner.
I can't make it through summer.
Air conditioner we can make it, but most people don't want to.
I don't want to.
And it's that big surprise when it clunks out and everybody's eyes get big as saucers because it's either going to cost them a lot of money, or we don't know what it's going to cost, or it's at the beginning of winter and all the HVAC contractors are already busy taking care of other people's stuff. So if you can have that maintenance already set up and ongoing, then you take the risk away of something being more of a surprise. Right. Second, I would say probably, depending on what your house is built with, your exterior veneer, if it's wood siding, caulking and painting. I know it's not cheap to do the painting, but caulking, you can buy a tube of caulk for a couple bucks, and you can, caulk nail holes and cracks and seams and stuff like that. And that'll prevent any further moisture damage or prevent it from ever happening. So the caulking the exterior is a huge thing. Third, probably our foundation, keeping the water sloping away, all of our drainage.
Right.
It just in general, just downspouts, where do they route to? Our gutters cleaned, where's all of our water going? And then the bonus, fourth one, is going to be our roof, like we were talking about. If you've had a hailstorm, call a roofer, come out. They're happy to come out and take a look at it for you. They want a job. They want to do a job for you, but they can't lie. I mean, if they get up there and they say, I think we can get this bought by insurance still has to look at it.
Right.
So make sure you're getting a reputable roofer. Your agent will have somebody that they know. Even if it, you bought your house a year or two ago, you're planning on selling your house in a couple of years, whoever your agent is going to be, they're happy to help you with that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to help the process.
And we have enough storms in our area that, don't wait until your roof has sprung a leak before you have somebody ever so often. I prefer to do it. If we have a good storm, I have somebody out. But otherwise, I'm doing it at least every 2 years to have a roofer come out and walk that roof and just to see, because you pay for insurance for a reason. So don't wait until it's already the water's already coming through your ceiling.
And we get some pretty crazy storms where we might have like a little microburst somewhere. And if that's happened in your area, because I think we had one this year, maybe you got a shingle that's missing. I'll get up on a roof and I'll, explain what we've got going on. And of course, our buyer wants to have that fixed, and they show it to the seller, and they're like, I had no idea that was going on.
And just think of the damage that can cause if you just maintain and walk around your property and keep track of things.
For sure.
And the foundation is, of course, always, I think, grade is something that people just neglect.
Yep.
It starts to settle, and all it really takes is going and buying a little dirt.
Right.
Or in my case, having my dad dig some dirt on the farm and bring it to me. But whatever it takes, bring me dirt.
Free dirt.
It can be free dirt.
Yep, absolutely.
Just make sure that grade is going away from your house, because that water, it is what destroys our foundations in our area, and we see a lot of it.
Yeah, poor drainage is number one.
Yeah, we see a lot of it. What about sellers who are considering doing a pre-listing inspection? What do you think of those, and how do you think those benefit us as far as when buyers are coming to look at?
They do. It kind of goes back to being honest and forthcoming with some of that information. Not saying that a seller that doesn't do a pre-listing is lying, but it makes it feel like to the buyers that they're saying, here's what I have. They're showing their cards already. And one thing a seller can do with that pre-listing inspection is they can do some repairs. Now, I wouldn't go all out and fix everything per se.
Right.
Talk with your agent, figure out what they think is acceptable. Because there might be things that you're trying to fix and spend good money on that you say, well, mudjacking your driveway is a great idea, but I don't think it's going to stop the sale of your house. So it might be something that you think, I can get that done. But would we rather have something else fixed? Or, that potential buyer may have, could care less. The driveway needs to be mudjacked.
Right.
So it gives you that opportunity to see it. If you do some fixes, if there's a leak underneath the sink and we get that leak fixed, we can say leak was fixed such and such date. If you have a plumber come in and do that, you can write down who did it. So all that stuff is documented, kind of like we were talking about. And then you also have a little bit of a mental idea of if someone came in and they went crazy and they asked for everything, or these are the big ticket things we're looking at. This is potentially how much I might have out of pocket. You might not have a bunch set back in reserve, to do repairs. So having that information is very helpful.
Right. And I think in some situations in our market, those pre-inspection reports can, when we have, multiple offers coming in on properties, I think that gives some agents and their buyers the incentive to do an as-is and say, hey, we'll take it as is, and we're not going to deal with anything because we've already seen what your report was.
For sure.
So I think it gives you a little advantage to, move that process along a little faster.
Yeah, Absolutely.
which can always be advantageous.
Yep.
Well, that's going to wrap it up today for our broadcast. Thank you, Deric, for coming in and spending a little time.
Thanks
we always enjoy your company. And, one thing I was thinking, too, just off the top of my head is the importance of buyers researching home inspection companies. If you're not going to take your realtors, maybe top 2 or 3, and you want to find your own, start doing that before you get under contract. Because like Deric said, the sooner we can get those inspections set up, the minute you're under contract, the better. So do that research ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Have that already a plan made. I always say get your ducks in a row. So I always like ducks in a row.
It'll keep hiccups from happening down the road.
It does. It keeps things moving in the right direction.
That's right.
So thanks again for watching us. Like us on Facebook. Check us out on YouTube and Twitter and wherever else Dan Harwood has us, on our social media. Dan, you're the man, right? All right. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast with the Brasel Real Estate Groups at RE/MAX Heritage. If you like our show and would like to keep up with our upcoming episodes, please like our Facebook page, the Brasel Real Estate Group, where we go live every Wednesday. Or you can find us on YouTube at the Brasel Real Estate Group page. To find out more about our real estate services, you can find us at www.braselrealestategroup.com or contact us at 816-897-5151. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day.
Our friends at Homestead Inspection Company have been serving the Kansas City metro area for over 27 years. Homestead covers inspections for sellers, buyers, multifamily, and commercial property inspections. Contact Homestead today at www.homestead-inspection.com or give them a call at 816-833-1090 for all your inspection needs. Looking for a home warranty? Our friend Jamie Dickey at Choice Home Warranty has the solution for you. With local pre-screened technicians, 24/7 home warranty service, and a $65 deductible rate, it's easy to see why Choice is our choice for home warranties. Contact Jamie today at 816-550-5144 or find out more about Choice at www.chwpro.com. Our friend Isaiah Bragg at Country Financial is here to help you with all of your financial needs, whether it's business, retirement, auto insurance, home insurance, or life insurance. Contact him today at 816-795-6340. If you're in the market to find a home or thinking about refinancing or a reverse mortgage, contact Deb Brasel at Motto Mortgage Heritage. Deb's an award-winning mortgage broker and been in the business for almost 20 years. Contact Deb today and get pre-approved at 816-678-9283. NMLS number 299821 and office NMLS number 1720438. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed.